For this edition of PL Live, we'll be doing a breakdown of the upcoming championship match between CKY and Pure Talent. First of all, I'd like to thank people for tuning in to this edition of PL Live. The way we decided to do it is that I was going to take CKY and District is going to take PT. I'm just going to do a quick breakdown of CKY and just give my opinion and thoughts about some players and do a projected lineup. So first we got Axie. I think he's pretty solid D heavy. He's got some of the best AC aim I've seen as of late in the game. He really gets in the most damage he can, I find, when he comes to the A7 hallway. He'll always stick out for a couple extra AC shots. One thing I did notice about him, though, is that he does let his energy get down a bit low, so could come to compromise his defense. Next, we got BFN, solid OM, really good pickup late in the season. He's got great awareness, great addition to the team altogether. He's a good player to watch. Next, we got Captain Axe, great SL from what I played with him. I didn't play too much, but he seems to have decent awareness, so I don't have too much to say about him. Next, we got Colossal, my boy Jeff. He's getting better every time he plays, I find. I personally like how when he gets to the turret choke, he's always pushing through and always setting up. He's never playing passive and dying without setting up. A lot of people don't like heavies that play like that, but I personally do, so good job, Jeff. Keep it up. Next, we got Mecha. He's also doing better every time he plays. Both him and Colossal are from USL, so it's good to see some players coming over. He still's got a lot of work with his awareness. I find he eats a lot of RTs and stuff that he doesn't have to, but he'll get that as he goes. I think it's his first season. Next, we got GT. He's a great medic, but he's playing O infantry for CKY this season. They have Waylander as medic, so they're using him for O. He's not a bad infantry. He's got great AR aim, one of the best duelers in the game. Got pretty good awareness from what I can see. I'm not sure how his activity is going to be, if he's going to make it or not, but I think if he shows up, he's definitely going to do some good. We have Greed next. Definitely one of the best infantries for defense in the game right now. Probably the top Ka infantry. Him and Salv would be battling that out, I believe. Not really much more to say about him. He's definitely hard to kill. He's going to be a good player to watch. Next, we got Infinite. Hell of a miner. Lacks fighting skills, but he really kept CKY defense in the game against Zoetic last week with all the mining. There was times he had 200-300 talks in the dropship, so definitely doing pretty good. Hopefully gets his fighting skills up over the next few seasons, but definitely a player to keep an eye on. Next, we got Mafia, aka Monster, aka Merciless. He didn't play in the Zoetic game, but he's been playing in he's been playing O infantry for them in their practice and in OVDs lately. He's a new player to CTFPL also, but he's also one of the better players around these days. He's picking it up really fast, so kudos to you. Next we got Mugen. He plays O infantry for CKY. I'm not sure who he is. I haven't really played with him much. He seems to be pretty good from what I can see. Also lacks a bit of awareness. Doesn't drain as much as he could, but he's definitely coming out to be a good player. Next we got Performer. This is Mixum's little brother. Plays support classes mainly. Plays them all pretty well. He's definitely got a lot to learn. I remember him from CTF in Sony. He wasn't bad there either. So I look forward to coming up with these. Next we got Silly. In my opinion, Silly is the best D infantry in the game right now. Really, really aggressive. Plays really well with Greed. They've been playing together for years. Definitely the best infantry in the game, I'm going to say. Not much more to say about him. Next up, we got Sin. He's their JT. I haven't seen him play any other classes but JT. He's pretty decent JT. He can definitely flag a base, as myself and District know, as he flagged us one game. Sore subject, we won't talk about that. But definitely not to be taken lightly. You can definitely get flags out. Next up, we got Waylander. Really, really good medic. I know Dinobot was exchanging some words in their game last week, but definitely got good trank aim. Pretty good awareness on blinking and stuff, so definitely not a person you want to take lightly. So my projected lineup for CKY this weekend on their defense would be Silly and Greed as DMs, Greed as Ka, Axius Heavy, and Infinite's Engineer, with Waylander as Medic. Offense, we'd have BFN, Mugen, GT Infantries, Colossal Heavy, and NBC or Captain Axe SO. Gonna hand it over to you, District, if you have anything else to say on that.
No, I think you're pretty spot on for all of CKY and, they're talented players and whatnot. If they have a good showing, they should be able to win this fairly easily. But you never know. Like, PT's, they got the players. It's more about, who's there and who's not.
I definitely think that CKY wants this more. Like tonight they had a practice. I think they had 14, 15 people on. So they're definitely showing that they want this more than PT, as I haven't seen them practice the last little bit. And like they didn't give up in the long game last week. They stuck to their guns. They kept going even though their offense wasn't doing very much at the beginning. Kept their hopes up and like pulled through for them. So good job to them. And they're definitely not a force to be taken lightly.
Oh, I fully agree with you. Now I'll just take it over with PT. I'm going to do it just a little bit different than Albert because, we don't know who's really going to show. But, for my expected, kind of my projected PT defense, it's going to be a combination of Bell, Lobas, Term, or Spark. Obviously, if Term shows, they'll probably swing Lobas to the offense, and then they'll have Spark as a D heavy. Bao, like I don't know what to say about him besides he's probably one of the most solid Kara DMs, but he's pretty rare that he switches to P6. Though he still has very good aim, very good awareness, and he can change the tide of the game all by himself. Term's a wicked support DF, and then he can also finish when he needs to. And there's he could play Caw, he could play SG, he could do whatever. You don't want to ask for much more than that. And you got Sparkles. Sparkles is I'd say he's one of the most passive D heavies most of the time. It's very rare you see him pushing out, with the likes of like Tyrell or whatever, but he stays alive, he does his job. He could obviously be a little more aggressive, but that's not me to say. Um, their engineer is probably going to be G. G has been solid. He does his job. He power mines. He also likes to fight. He could do all of it. He doesn't do it, at a high level of, let's say ZMN's engineer, but he does it well enough to allow, ZMN to be a JT when they need it. And then their medic is Hustler. Hustler is a beast. His TB flanks right now are the best I've seen in ages. He actually turns the way he's facing when he flanks, and he's a very good fighter. And when he's not fighting in TB flank, and he keeps his guys alive and does whatever it takes, they got a pretty good defense, man. Like truthfully, that's just my opinion there. Now for their offense, it all depends on who shows. I think Debbie's camping, but if Debonair does show, he'll be probably O heavy, possibly O inf. His O heavy is pretty good. He may be a system player, but he's got the aim, he's got the awareness. So, despite him being a system player, he does get her done. And then you have their O infs. Let's see, kills. Kills has been improving slowly and slowly, despite playing for a long time. Um, he stays alive. He gets his kills. Preferably, if I'm ZMN, I'd rather have someone like Unborn. Unborn is a wicked finisher. He can drain, he could stay alive, he can, do ret damage, he can do all of it. He's just basically a more upgraded version of kills, no offense. And then, we got DP. DP's a solid OM. Can't really say much more about him. Personally, I think PT's offense, the key to it is, showing Meep and Lobas, who are both very, very good OMs. Both of them can stay alive. I know Meep's not, at his peak like he used to be, but he's still above average. Very, very good killer. Um, if he isn't playing OM, he could do pretty much any other class. He's a very good player. Lobas, same thing. He's got his legs at advantage. If Term shows up, then Lobas can play OM, and that will probably help ZMN out. Now we got ZMN as JT. I think this is probably PT's best chance at winning this game is him being JT as opposed to running the Power O. I just think, having ZMN in, first of all, he can kind of coordinate that offense, and on top of that, he can get those kills or change it to a FR rush for Rats or whatever. They got tons of potential with him as JT, and I personally think that's their best bet against, the likes of Silly and Greed. For their SL, it'll probably be throwing in Beso, who does his job. Nothing amazing, but he's consistent, doesn't die that often, and EB's like, what else do you want to ask, right? Um, Besides that, I think that's pretty much pure talent summarized. I could not tell you who actually is going to show, but if I could, I would hope that DP Meep and Lobash show up as imps with ZMN JT and Beso as SL, and I think that's our best chance. For defense, obviously you want Bale, Term, and Spark with G and Hustler. It's going to be a great match if they show all their best players. I'm going to be leaning towards CKY simply because of the ZMN curse, but it's a whole nother subject.
I'd have to agree with everything that you said. Pretty much every player, you're spot on. Who do you think is going to win this match? Who do you think is going to be the MVP? And how long do you think it's going to be?
Um, you know what? I have a feeling that Sinn Fein is going to flag it within, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. I just kind of have some faith in them, and plus, apparently, there's this bet going on inside the CKY squad that if Infinite mines like 250 talks, he's getting like $20, or maybe it was 500 talks, something like that. So I'm gonna lean towards CKY. They're hungry and they really want to win. They don't want to see ZMN win, and that's pretty much their motivation as a squad. It's actually kind of funny. So if anything, my MVP is going to be either Sin or I don't know, their defense in general, like Silly or Greed or possibly Way, just shutting down ZMN.
I think with Pure Talent being home, they're going to take A7 as they usually do. Do you think they'll still run a JT for CKY?
Um, I have a feeling. I don't have much faith in their power offense. I still think Sin could do it. Um, he always jokes about how he plays JT, pretty much just goes in blind, but I have a ton of faith in him flagging A7. He's been doing it for years. There's no reason why he can't, you know.
Very true, very true. Personally, I would have to agree. I think CKY is going to win it just because, like I said earlier, they just seem to want it more. Um, ZMN has gotten his squad to show up in the early season really good. It's been pretty bad showing, I think. Well, I'm not gonna say bad. He's definitely the most active squad here right now, but they just don't seem to be practicing like they used to be. And I think that that's gonna be a huge reason why they lose this game. Another reason being the CMN curse, obviously. But I think if they keep getting Infinite to mine so much and not be home so much, it's really gonna give PT a chance to to clear, to do some serious damage, just to push and swing. He needs to be homie being like if you got 250 talks, you don't need 500. You know what I mean? So I think if they're pushing him to do that, it's really gonna end up hurting them. So that's just something that they should keep in mind. I think personally, but I think they got it. Overall, I think they're just a more organized, better oiled machine. I guess just better chemistry. One thing I will say about PT is that Zeman has his squad down for flagging. I don't think they've lost a flag race yet. I think every game that they play, they've always had more flags. I think CKY is going to have an issue with that. Hopefully, they can get a few, not just two, maybe three, four, so that it's not so easy for ZMN to flag if he gets a chance.
Totally fair. Totally fair. I actually didn't notice that, but now that you bring it up, kind of hits home. Yeah, it's for PT that, or sorry, for CKY there, it'll probably help him out or not, depending on, how the game goes. With this current situation in PL, I'm kind of just curious on who shows. I'm gonna be there on Sunday just to watch it. I kind of hope the ZMN curse stays alive. And you know, fuck, I can't believe we're still talking about it.
It's been about 15 years and we're still talking about it.
I know. And the one season he technically won a ring, not really. And the other squad forfeited, so I still think it's a curse, and I think it's gonna live on with this free infantry thing we got going. I don't think it's gonna ever end. Sorry, Zitz.
I keep telling him that ring doesn't count. He tells me that I got one because I was on his squad, but I told him it still doesn't count.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So you know what? I have a feeling this is gonna conclude our PLI for this upcoming champion match. Thanks for listening, and tune in next season.